Good morning. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Here we are with the session about the Scientific Advisory Board, which is a new body in the community. Let me share my screen and so to share the few slides. I will start. I will start this session. Okay. Hopefully, you can see my slides, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much. So this session rather short, but the idea is to present and launch the existence of the FIWARE Scientific Advisory Board, and to you, to everybody in the world. This is a new body of the FIWARE community, which was created to support the board of directors of the FIWARE Foundation in its forward-looking decision process, and in order to shaping FIWARE technology with scientific excellence. So it is a body who has the clear positioning is to support the board of directors in its strategic view. The team that I will nicely joining me today is a team made of worldwide scientists, recognized scientists in computer science and related fields, and you will hear from them in a second. And the what and how this board will work is to particularly emphasize the continuous exploration and identification of groundbreaking, cutting-edge research and innovation in ICT fields, but starting from open technologies and citizen science, down to, of course, topics like artificial intelligence, digital twin, and also the new coming quantum technologies. And of course, as a live and a living body, the idea is that many other or several other fields may come of interest. So basically what this board will do is to put the level of reasoning with a clear future looking where FIWARE shall go in terms of thinking, forward thinking. This body will have some outcomes that are papers, that are participation in events, that are identification of opportunities where researchers and the FIWARE community meets, but also in the creation of specific research projects, whether they are funded or publicly funded by institutions like European communities and others, or not. But so, and this is kind of activities that we are looking for. Also, it is important to mention the creation of local and regional links and collaboration between the FIWARE Foundation, research institutions, and local authorities in a virtual circle, in emphasizing the potential of local communities with forward looking at a global scale. Also, this will be another important element that will be also a bit emphasize in the following session is the creation and facilitation of cooperation between FIWARE university through maybe internship, research thesis, where we offer the ground to this, and also creation of and setup of hackathons. So the last thing that I would like to say is that also this the board is open for new candidature. We started the board from the associate members of the FIWARE Foundation, and then from there we who manifested the interest and participate in the setting up of this board. The board who is formed by this set of scientists. I will not introduce them because they will introduce themselves. So let's start in alphabetical order. And so, Niall, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, folks. My name is Niall Lockme. I'm Director for Digitization and the Industrial Internet of Things at Irish Manufacturing Research, and we're a passionate user of the FIWARE platform.
Thank you, Niall. Najib, s'il vous plaît.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Najib Maulan. I'm a professor in the University of Lyon, and my research activity is balanced between software engineering for software reuse and industrial engineering with the massive integration of AI, digital twins, and mainly around digital transformation.
Thank you very much, Najib. Antonello, prego.
Good morning, my name is Antonello Monti. I'm professor at RWTH Aachen University in Germany, also scientist at Fraunhofer FIT, still in Germany. And I'm also coordinating the MSc Energy within the FIWARE Foundation. And yeah, I mean, FIWARE since day one, when it was still a FIPPP together with Stefano in the very, very first phase of this program, when it was still a project funded by the European Commission.
Thank you, Antonello, also for reminding the old times. Luis, please.
Hello, this is Luis Muñoz. I am professor here at the University of Cantabria, working with, in particular, in the framework of smart cities, IoT technology, and FIWARE. Of course, I tend to say that one of the pioneer uses of FIWARE in the smart city domain was in the Smart Santander project.
Exactly. Yes. Great, thank you. Joaquín, please.
Hello, I'm Joaquín Salvachua. I'm professor at Universidad Politécnica de Madrid in Telecommunication and Engineering School. And I have been in FIWARE since the start, and I'm an architect and maintainer of several of the generic enablers.
Thank you. Antonio, please.
Yep. Hi all. My name is Antonio Escarmeta. I'm a professor in the University of Murcia in Spain, in the southeast. Basically, I'm a follower in that sense, also since the beginning of FIWARE, where we have used it in several research projects, and specifically for smart infrastructure, for a smart city, for example. Now we are leading the smart city project here in the city of Murcia. And in general, our research is focused on IoT, security, and smart infrastructures in general.
Thank you. And last but not least, Paolo, please.
Thank you, Stefano. Good morning. Good morning to all of you. My name is Paolo Traverso. I'm Director for Strategic Marketing and Business Development at FBK, Fondazione Bruno Kessler. Fondazione Bruno Kessler is the RTO, the Research and Technology Organization of the Autonomous Province of Trento in northeast of Italy. My area of research is artificial intelligence, I would say in a rather broad sense.
Thank you. Yes, here are my contacts, just in case you want to drop an email and interest in the activities of this body. So let's go back to here and I stop sharing my screen. And let's start with a panel where I make some yes questions. Also, happy to receive questions from the audience if there are burning issues that you would like to raise. So let's start with the question. So yes, Luis, let me start from yours, because from old times and not only. So which are, according to you, three main technologies that will come in the short and medium terms on which the FIWARE community shall concentrate?
Okay, thank you, Stefano. So, as you know, this is not an easy topic, right? To be visionary, but just let's say according to the chronogram of what I expect or what I see in that sense, right? So yeah. First of all, I tend to say, of course, artificial intelligence. I wouldn't say that is already disruptive, but I mean, is clearly changing the way in which systems and persons are behaving. So I think that there is a completely new approach in terms of how things have to be managed for reaching the autonomic dream. Always I say the autonomic dream, right? So artificial intelligence will be one of the key enablers in making the autonomic dream a reality. We have been talking about autonomic networks or autonomous networks for more than 10 years. However, now I think that the fact that artificial intelligence is becoming a reality, that will be, of course, one of the key elements. The second one is the intelligence in the edge. So also we are discussing a lot about the intelligence in the edge. The fact that we have every day more powerful computers with less energy consumption, closer to the points where the decisions are taken, is creating the ability also to let's say, to distribute intelligence with small artificial intelligence machinery running very close to the decision points, reducing the time, the response time, and making things much more agile, right? So this concept of tactile internet, in which the network and intermediate systems will behave in a quite similar fashion, not just in terms of behavior, but also in terms of time or period time equivalent to our brains, is also one of the key assets. And last but not least, in my opinion, quantum computing will be the third really breaker in terms of technology. So it will provide this brain behaving in a much faster speed than never we can have thought, and making all these previous concepts as artificial intelligence and edge computing much more real and much more agile.
Thank you, Luis. Of course, this panel, the purpose is to present some of the ideas, but also to to open the ground for further discussion. So please, to all attending, stay tuned, because one of the goals is to set up an event where this forward thinking will be present in more detail, and we will have more room for discussions. Today is just the boost of this new strand of activities. So Paolo, I think that Luis opened the ground to you for artificial intelligence expert. So maybe you may want to comment.
Luis did much more than opening the ground. I have to say I fully agree with him. So let me just add something to what Luis said. Artificial intelligence, yes, I believe in the future there's still a lot of work to do. And artificial intelligence is not only machine learning, and it's not only even more deep learning, even if there have been a great success in applying spatially supervised deep learning. But really, the connection with the other techniques will be very useful. I still believe that there is need to model like in model a machine, model an airplane, model how a car works, and to integrate learning from data with models in artificial intelligence. So it's a kind of neurosymbolic in the new way that will be very useful. I fully agree on the idea of also AI at the edge. I believe the important point will be the continuous from cloud to the edge. So there will be a distribution, understanding what is to be computed in the cloud, what is to compute at the edge. And here we'll come back a big issue on AI that is collaborative AI, because if you have to spread artificial intelligence, you need this artificial intelligence to communicate and to work together in a collaborative way. Then the extreme edge will be chips, so AI on chips, so neuromorphic, but also simply, I believe, in the medium, simply moving neural nets in the chip. There are already many companies interested in this, many startups looking at this, because some computations, some AI, some intelligence will have to be brought to the extreme edge, to the sensors, for instance, like in image recognition. Yes, quantum will be the future, but until we will find a new way of programming quantum computers where the primitives are not the primitives that we use for programming now, it will be difficult to find really to exploit the potentiality of quantum computing. So we should program talking about probability distribution rather than assignments, just to make a simple example. So I fully agree with Luis in this.
Okay, thank you, Paolo. Maybe a different view can be brought on the topic by Najib.
Yeah, thank you, Stefano. I completely agree with what was discussed by my colleagues about the role that can play artificial intelligence, all, let's say, what we can provide on top of it as channels and ways to put it as an enabler to open new technologies or new channels to the massive integration of new technologies. I have maybe another point of view regarding how we can encapsulate AI as a service and how to can intensively, let's say, support end users in the acquisition of distributed intelligence, even if users don't have enough data to train, to apply machine learning and so on. So the massive outsourcing of artificial intelligence services can be a way to support users by sharing data assets, helping them to provide their constraints, their requirements, and collaboratively shape some models that they can reuse later. So here we need to draw the path to support data sharing, anonymization, the exchange of data, and the integration of services, maybe through microservices. This is a way that we can massively outsource AI services, and on top of all of this, we need to assess the risks, the opportunities, the maturity of the process, and providing, with connection to FIWARE, connected framework to do it will be useful mainly for users without enough, let's say, strong experience in AI or in the integration of AI services. Maybe a second topic connected to artificial intelligence is how artificial intelligence can drive on emotional intelligence. So how people and systems can collaborate together in some smooth way when artificial intelligence can detect, for example, from user tasks, from human tasks also, with the supervision, some situation where we need to support users. We need to support users in painful situations. We need to reduce the effort provided by users when we detect through artificial intelligence that maybe models can provide a better, let's say, resolutions, or they can save in, for example, in quality control system assisted by artificial intelligence. Maybe supervising system can save machines, save products, and save tools. In this way, from emotional intelligence, we can support end user in order to have a smooth collaboration with artificial intelligence services. The third topic that I'm thinking about is about artificial intelligence and resilience by design. So from what exists today, we are mainly in the recent research papers that I'm reviewing or I'm participating to propose. We are discussing resilience from the point of view of evaluation, providing some KPIs and assessing how resilient are our systems. By design, we can consider some event situation that we can collect from a previous behavior of our systems and let's say provide them as a fact that we need to consider in the building of our intelligent models. In this way, we can preserve our system and we can learn more about the previous situation that can drive the future behavior of our system, mainly in industry. That's the topic that I'm, let's say, considering as powerful in order to help information system in industry to drive a better collaboration between human and machines and to act with effective solutions in order to improve, let's say, production, quality control, or maintenance in industry.
Thank you very much, Najib. Detailed points as here, so there is a lot to talk. But you open the door of the putting at the core, particularly in your first answer about data. So here I would like to involve our data experts in this. So Antonio, what is your view about this centricity of data and data or knowledge? What is, there is a tension here. How do you want to?
Yep. I mean, I think that this is something very very connected to some of the previous points, already addressed by my colleague, because I think that more and more, I mean, we are focusing not necessarily on the data itself, basically, because data, as you know, there's already more and there's a huge amount of the information, but how to manage this data to get information from that data. So making a structured mechanism that manage that all this data that are coming from the different sources. And once you have that in a structural way, how to really being able to create knowledge or extract new knowledge from this collection of information, I would say, in some sense. And for that, obviously, several of the technologies already mentioned, for example, regarding the artificial intelligence, machine learning stuff, either about the continuous computing model, for example, are quite important, because at the end, what we need to really be able to understand, basically, and to identify what is really relevant on the amount of data that we are creating because of all this capability and capillarity that we have now, indeed, on our new connected world, I would say, in some sense. And in that context, I think FIWARE already from the beginning, I think, was on the key area that help on this process, how to get the data, how to manage the data in a collection of information, a structural way, using a standardized way to manage this procedure, using NGSI, then later NGSILD. So basically, there's already, I mean, an approach to that. But that is more important, as already mentioned, also to create tools that are able to manage and to treat all this information in order to generate new knowledge that then can help on the decision making. So my understanding is that we are moving more and more on this from the lower layers to the upper layers, where basically we are able to really now are able to generate this kind of a new knowledge that can help on the process of this decision on the different solutions and verticals, and more, I would say, on this pervasive scenario that we are envisioning on the future, because also the coming of 5G and 6G, etc., as mechanisms that will increase the number of devices that are going to be connected, I would say, in some sense.
Thank you, Antonio. So yes, on this, Joaquin, you also, I think, have a lot to say. Also, as you presented yourselves during the Tour de Table, and in fact, just to add that being one of the key, let's say, provider of data technologies and the FIWARE technologies, it's interesting to hear your opinion here as well.
Well, I fully agree with all my colleagues, especially with Professor Scarlett have already said that the knowledge is provided by all these kind of things. But I think that the key point will be to provide one step beyond, is to provide wisdom. Up to now, we are able to get knowledge, but we have to get wisdom and trust. The problem right now is that we are able to make the data flow, like a species in the Middle Ages flow to maintain the economy. Here we are keeping the spices flowing, so FIWARE is key for maintaining the data flowing. But the next step will be that we trust both all the steps that we require, but also the artificial intelligence. Up to now, the artificial intelligence, really meaning in most cases machine learning, is a black box where you do not understand anything that is going there. I think that the next step is something that is explainable to final users. I'm not saying to experts, I'm saying that FIWARE will be key if we are able to make both systems that are able to transform this data really into wisdom and something that they are relevant for them, but also that we are able to explain all these models. And a previous colleague said, also move away not only from machine learning, but from other techniques that they need to explore and be available. And this must be usable for non-expert users. I think FIWARE is doing a great job in this and should go on this line of making really easy for them to make systems that can change society. I think that the key will be that we really understand our cities and really understand our use cases and try to make a better world with this wisdom and knowledge that we get from data.
Thank you, Joaquin. We heard from you all guys quite interesting and new, I would say, fantastic sectors of the research and future with interesting insights. But now I am a doubt. Shall we, as FIWARE, the community, follow disruptiveness? This is now a buzzword coming all in continuously. Or shall we maybe drive this disruptiveness? So what do you think should be the role of FIWARE in that? Antonella, I would like to hear your opinion, being with us since the very beginning on this aspect.
This is a very good question. I'm sure I would say that we have to be at the center of this, because at the end, the way I always saw FIWARE is like this gateway to bring things together. And if you want to bring things together, you have to be fully aware of the ecosystems around you. In that respect, all those type of disruption that we heard so far are really much changing the world around what we call a data platform and the role of the data platform. So naturally, obviously, FIWARE has to be with an active role to be sure that, on one hand, also the FIWARE itself is well prepared for those disruptions, so that for us are not really disruption, but we are part of the flow. So we shouldn't be surprised by disruption. That's I think, critical to be sure that the philosophy we're building with FIWARE is always on the driving edge of technology and not following. I mean, when you follow, you're always late. That's clear.
Okay, thank you. Niall, we didn't have your voice yet.
Could I bring Could I bring some additional context to this? And I think you know, there's been some very logical, technical reasons that my colleagues here have brought up in terms of what is coming, what is disruption going to look like. But if I was to put maybe a slightly, you know, a business context on what I see and why I agree broadly with what has been said here, and I'm reflecting the view of over 200 manufacturing companies in Ireland when I say this. And customers, in terms of technology, they don't want to be locked into proprietary systems. And there's been obviously a massive explosion in cloud compute capability, cloud services. But when you start to get data intensive, those services, they can be quite costly, and organizations are quite sensitive to that. So, you know, the need to bring some of that compute capability onto the edge of the cloud is very, very important. And I'd agree with several speakers have made that point, and there's a business imperative for that as well. So that would be something that we would see as being massively important. But customers and organizations, they want choice. And again, there's obviously ISP proprietary choice out there, but they also want an ability to evaluate and utilize technologies in an open source manner. So in terms of disruption, having platforms out there that enable individuals and organizations to utilize open source technology as a path to aiding disruption is, from a business perspective, is very important. So companies, manufacturing technical companies, will want to acquire their own understanding of capabilities before having more substantive discussions with service providers and solution providers. So in terms of disruption, having choice in terms of open source platforms to facilitate data management, to facilitate the development of insights is massively important. And it's very important from a European perspective.
Thank you, Niall. Having brought also the business perspective in this discussion. Luis, you started with the disruptiveness, putting on the table your three ideas. So, how do you see the role of FIWARE here?
I think that you guys are doing a fantastic job. So, if you realize, I think that FIWARE, has the twofold vision, right? So, in one way, the fact that you are involved in research and innovation projects allows, let's say, to the FIWARE Foundation and to the FIWARE community, right, to be in the cutting edge in the cutting edge technology. So for you will not be disruptive in one way or another way, because you are from the very beginning. I mean, you are from the very beginning involved in the process. So, I mean, from that perspective, I think that FIWARE is playing the key role of becoming a privileged observer of the technology, but not just in a passive way, but in an active way. And second, and I think this is also very important, you are one of the first stakeholders in, let's say, bringing the technology to the real field, to the fact that you are working very close with the different stakeholders, either in the industry, either in the city, either in plethora of different ecosystem. This makes that what is, for many cases, might be disruptive, in the sense that, okay, it's a new incomer. Very soon, the technology is brought to the real field, at least as a prototype, right? So, I think that in that sense, you are playing in a quite, or FIWARE is playing in a very well balanced approach, right? So, with what is called disruptive, and really more than disruptive in many cases, is just evolutive, right?
Yes. Thank you, Luis. So next session is approaching in barely 9 minutes we have. So I would like to make a final question to you all in a very quick tour de table. The question is, which role do you see for the Scientific Advisory Board in the FIWARE community in particular? Which role do you see for researchers in FIWARE? Some of you already touched this point, but yes, as a final statement, I would like to go to this. So let's go maybe in alphabetical order by name this time. So Antonello, please.
Okay, sure. Well, I think the role is, I mean, we've been talking about all those evolution happening, and those evolution are not in one field. And one of the key elements of FIWARE is really to be, let me use this word, multidisciplinary. So it's not just in one sector, and it already crossing because you bring IT in energy, IT in something else. I think the role of the Scientific Advisory Board is really to cover this wide breadth of technologies that could emerge from all those different fields. And that's, nobody of us is able to catch everything. And having a group of colleagues from different backgrounds contributing here makes us aware of everything happening somewhere else. We have so much to learn from each other. We are facing similar challenges, but each one has its own peculiarity. I mean, coming from the energy sector, we are in the middle of a huge revolution. But we cannot do it alone. For example, this is one of the key things we learn as electrical engineers, that we cannot imagine to change the energy system just working on electrical engineering topics. And that's where I think is the key element of FIWARE. And that's what is also interesting for us as a scientist, because not only we help FIWARE to create those bridges, but we as a scientist learn more about what's going around in other fields that will benefit my field. Creating a community of knowledge, I think, is a win-win situation for the foundation, but also for us as scientists to hear people in other fields and their ideas.
Thank you, Antonello. Antonio, please, just 1 minute because we are.
No. I think that as you mentioned, we have to face here as a researchers. I would say one as we need to bring, I would say, our own roadmaps in the sense of to identify what we understand are the disruptive and the new and the advanced solution, basically, that can be useful in the context of FIWARE, to use FIWARE, and how FIWARE can be used in the context of this new disruptive technology. So that I think is one of the key. So we need to help and provide this kind of advice, over this possible roadmap. But also I think that, as already was mentioned, as a member of the community, of the university, at least us, I think that we need to try also to bring how to use this kind of solution in the context of our own capability buildings in our students, for how they can be used, how they can be part of our training activities, so that we can help also the future engineers to understand better how to use these tools.
Thank you. Joaquin?
Yes, I will just repeat all the messages. Like a professor used to tell us, in the universities we do systems that nobody has done before, and the companies repeat these systems in a maintainable way. I think that will be the key. We will provide disruptive ideas, but will be the role of FIWARE to make it repeatable and usable for final users. I think that the gap is there, and this is the trick. We will explore a lot of perhaps not useful things, and you have the right vision to decide what should be used for final users.
Great, thank you. Luis?
I think that most of the things has already been said, and indeed, once I answer to your previous question, I repeat that. So I think that we have to conciliate the disruptive technologies or the evaluative technologies with the more imminent needs of the ecosystems in terms of using FIWARE. So I think that we have to have a general view, and then second, based on this general view, how we can bring this closer to the FIWARE ecosystem for making it useful.
Thank you. Najib?
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I would say the same thing that my colleague already introduced by, I guess, from all what we propose as missions, activities on the Scientific Advisory Board, we can identify that we can play three main activities. The first one, it's about technology monitoring as benchmarking of what exists, what are the disruptive technologies, in which direction we have to go, with which role, how we can, with the FIWARE community, play a role in order to contribute with some research project in developing and applying this technology in different domains. This is, I guess, in terms of technology monitoring, something that can collect and consolidate this effort about technology building. The second, maybe role could be about how we can collaborate and develop FIWARE, let's say, collaboration channels. Those channels will be between the foundation, the universities, the regions, the different cities, maybe digital innovation hubs and other entities that can provide technologies and can find, let's say, opportunity in connecting these technologies and applying or upgrading them together in order to resolve or provide added values in different applications domain. The third point, it's about how we can promote FIWARE technologies among universities and scientific communities. Here, FIWARE Foundation can act as capacity building enabler by sharing and creating some connection with universities, with research labs, in order to address some specific topics and increase the level of, let's say, technology integration, technology maturity, and technology adaptability to the different application models that we can address, not only industry, but could about smart cities and others. And here, FIWARE have already strong application experiences, use cases that we can open, discuss, promote, and increase with the different universities and research labs.
Thank you very much. We have a few minutes, 1 minute more, 2 minutes, Niall and Paolo. Niall, please.
I'll be very short, Stefano. So I think any open source platform is only as strong as the community it supports. So ensuring that we continue to address the key challenge of interoperability and ensuring that our tools support data connections, that will grow the community and that will, bring a new health to the platform. So that would be my view.
Great, thank you. Yes, agree. Paolo.
I believe that one of the most important initiatives in Europe is Gaia-X. Gaia-X will need a continuous from research to innovation to market. And I believe FIWARE is very well connected. Is really something very good for Gaia-X. I believe so. This will be a way to bring this continuous from research to market to one of the most important initiatives in Europe.
Okay, thank you very much. So next session is there. I hope that the audience here grab some of important message and the fact that FIWARE is also forward-looking in new visionary technologies. So thank you all, and
Stefano,
your kind contribution. Yes.
We want to take a picture of all of you. So
yes.
First one, thank you, and now we can move the three other or the four other. Okay, thank you, Qui. We wanted to take 2 pictures, and if you can please move. I am missing. Okay.
Stan? Because
yeah, I'm taking the pictures. 1 second. Thank you. I think that we have all of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Enjoy.
See you soon.